All right, boys, we're back with the Nick Wholesales Houses podcast. We got another episode for you today. It's with my man, Francis Longo. If you're in South Jersey, you already know about Francis. He's killing it, crushing it. He is selling a ton of houses. He's doing a ton of flips. Very high volume guy, high profitability guy, I'll tell you that much. So I am very excited to sit down with him. It's going to be a great pod. Y'all are going to love it. I'm very excited. And if y'all don't love it, too bad, because I'm going to get so much knowledge. It's going to take me to the next level. I can't wait. So you're welcome that you even get to hear it. But before we get into the deal, boom, you know what the drill is. This episode is brought to you by Renovo Financial. So if you want a hard money loan, bam, hit up my man Jeremy from Renovo. Everyone that I know that's making good money, they're going with Jeremy, okay? And if you're trying to have a bunch of these rentals, everyone I know with hundreds of units, they do all their refis with Renovo. It's a one-stop shop. So if you want the DSCR loan, boom, no one's going to make it easier than them. I promise you. Probably have to be able to close in like 2 weeks or so quick. I promise you. So there you go. Happy hunting. Let's get into the pod. Yeah, is he good? Can you slide a little bit more over, a little bit more? We'll get nice and close. My guy, yo, Francis, thank you for coming on, dog. I appreciate you. Man. I have always, for a bit, I've wanted to have you on the pod. I've always wanted to get to know you because we have so many mutual friends, and I see you doing all this biz and doing all these deals. So I've been wanting to pick you.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Heck yeah, man. I know you. I see you, big family guy, which I like. I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. Same here.
You have a daughter or son?
Yeah, I got a daughter and a son.
Okay, nice.
So, yeah, I think whenever people throw their kid, do the whole, like, family stuff on social media, it resonates with me.
Nice, yeah.
That's kind of, like, big values of mine.
Definitely.
So,
I mean, what's more important than family, you know?
Yeah, for sure, bro. Yeah. Heck yeah. So, how did you get into all this? Like, how did you get into real estate? Like, kind of tell me about your start.
Yeah, I guess I'll go way back. I grew up in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, you know, right over the bridge. And I guess it's kind of a rich dad, poor dad story that kind of motivated me. I grew up in a really nice neighborhood, but we didn't have a nice house. It was a neighborhood where there was some normal houses and some mansions. So
and you weren't in them either.
No. We were in a nice house, but it was very dated. My parents got divorced, you know, so we struggled financially, even though we were in a nice neighborhood. So, you know, I think the principle of hard work was instilled upon me from a very young age. My dad moved here from Italy. He was born in Italy and started work. He's just an incredibly hard worker. So he was in the restaurant industry. So when my parents got divorced, you know, my mom, we had like 2 acres. So like all of our neighbors had landscapers and just, you know, we were out all weekend just raking leaves in the fall and stuff. So like, you know, I think that kind of was what was instilled in me from a young age. But basically, one of my best friends down the street, riding my bike 5 houses down, 12,000 square foot mansion, 10 acres, and Rolls Royce and Ferraris and private jet. So like, not that money's everything, but it just, his father was one of the largest developers in South Jersey of single family homes. Okay. So when we were young, he drove us to Williamstown, New Jersey, and there was 400 houses in a subdivision that they were building. And when I saw that, I mean, I don't know, 8 or 10 years old. I just was like, it opened my eyes. Like real estate you can make a lot of money in real estate. So he's still one of my best friends to this day, but his dad would always joke, "Oh, you'll come work for me later in life." So it never ended up happening, but you know,
it had a huge impact on you.
It had a huge impact on me. It was just like an aha moment in my life. So fast forward, I go to Penn State for college. I studied finance and international business. I decided to go into like the Wall Street route. So I got a job working for a bank in New York City on a trading desk. Worked this close to my boss. There was like 50 of us in a room staring at each other. And
That's a tough life.
It was very tough.
80 hours a week. They pay you very well. Sure.
Yeah, I was paid well. I hated it. It was not my skill set. I was pretty much on the verge of being fired. I couldn't keep up. It was really challenging. But I had a crazy boss. He was like a drill sergeant. He would come out. He would give me technical interviews in front of everyone, and he would embarrass me. And but I got that type of training directly out of college was so important for me to the attention to detail and working hard, being the first one in the office, last one out. So while this was happening, I was living in New York City, and I was just like, you know, where we are in Philly right now, you're just staring at high rises. And I was like, my mind started spinning. Like, who owns this building? Who developed it? Like, who financed it? All these different things. So I knew real estate was something that I wanted to get into. So meanwhile, my mom had also flipped a couple houses. Her friend was a realtor.
Okay, so it's not super foreign.
No, so my mom, I give her a lot of credit. She was working a job in human resources for a company, and she hated it. So on the side, her friend that was a realtor, over time, convinced her to buy a house and fix up and flip it. So
that's pretty badass.
Yeah, so I give my mom a lot of credit.
Shout out to the moms. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so she flipped a house. You know, when I came home during college and stuff, she would have me do landscaping, move appliances. So basically some of that stuff, it was, you know, I saw that from afar. I wasn't really involved. So basically, while I'm working it was PNC Bank. I worked in a sales and trading group. I started networking with Penn State alumni to find a job in real estate. I was like, I hate this. I'm not interested in it. I was on a sales and trading desk. Even though I was working with some really, really smart people, it just was such boring work.
Yeah,
moving things on screen. So I networked my way into working for another Penn State. A Penn State alumni was the CEO of a development company in New York. So for months, I was just, you know, meeting with people, reading books, watching YouTube videos, and I was learning about real estate. So I was just becoming obsessed with it. This guy took a chance on me, which I give him a lot of credit. I became a development associate at this company that would build apartments all across the country near colleges. So my job was in research, finding land, finding opportunities. You know, one deal, for example, like in where was it? Orono, Maine. We found a piece of land directly across the street from campus. I don't know, 40 or 50 acres. We bought it, we got it entitled, and then we built 1,000 beds for students.
Dang, all right.
Yeah, so I did that.
Very big project.
Very big projects. Very, not like flipping a single family house. Yeah. It was like 3 or 4 deals a year, but really big, like, I don't know, they were worth like $50 to $100 million a project. Yes. So I did that for 2 years. Really liked it. It was super nice, super good guys. But then when it came time to increase my compensation, it didn't really go well. So I was recruited to join another development company in New York, and I was there for about 5 years, and that was a really sophisticated operation. Like, I went to Penn State, and I'm a hardworking guy. I'm not the smartest guy in the room. My work ethic's here, but my intelligence, like I was with Harvard Business School graduates.
Yes.
Cornell, Penn, all these guys were brilliant guys. So I only snuck my way into this company because of my work ethic.
Which says a lot about you.
Well, thank you.
It really does. That says a ton about you.
I appreciate that. So I was there, and I always like to put myself, like with the saying, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. I've never been the smartest person in the room. I've always been able to get myself into places where people were much smarter than me, so I could just absorb like a sponge. So I learned from this development company that I worked for, the second one. We built hotels all over the United States and Europe. So what the founder of the company would do, which is now actually, I mean, he was way ahead of his time, is he would do adaptive reuse projects. So he would take office buildings, convert them into hotels.
Yeah. That's big now.
It's really big now because of COVID.
Back then, he's avant-garde.
This was in the 90s, so it was very, very ahead of its time. So I worked there for 5 years. I was living in New York. You know, my rent was $4,000 a month, $800 a month for a parking spot. It was, you know, I was making good money, but the costs were so high. So I still had that itch to do something on my own. So I flipped a house while I was working there. I leased a car. I left. I had it parked, and I would leave Saturday morning at 7 a.m. to go home for the weekend. And I bought a crappy house with my buddy Dan Tustin. He's a good guy. We bought a house. Actually, I just looked it up before this podcast. It was 11 years ago next week, basically.
Oh, cool.
In Collingswood, we bought 250 Harvard Avenue. We paid $158,000 for it. I did a lot of the demo myself with my dad. And me and my buddy ended up making like $38,000 on it. And for us, we were like jumping up and down.
Yeah.
Like, this was like real money, because like back then, whatever I was making, that was like, I think my annual bonus at the time was like $20,000. And so right there,
so you did right there, you just made your annual bonus.
Right there, one project. So it was just so nice to see. This was my project, start to finish. We bought it, we renovated it, we sold it, and here's my portion of the profit. It's not you're working for somebody else and I'm fighting for a 3 or 4% raise. So once I did this, I was like, I got to do more. So I started doing more. At night, I got my real estate license, and I would take the train to Jersey City, took real estate courses, and I was already planning kind of my exit from this company. Even though I kind of looked at my boss's job and like, did I see a long-term path there? And I said no. I just wanted to do something on my own.
Yeah.
So I ended up leaving. I had my real estate license.
Okay.
I resigned from this job in New York. There's some family issues too. My dad's older, and I wanted to be closer to my father to help take care of him. So I moved back down to South Jersey. I bought a house while I was living in New York. My mom helped me fix it up. I moved into this house, and I took on real estate full time, being a realtor and flipping houses. So that's pretty much it. And I've been doing that since 2008, June 2018. So about 7 years now.
Okay, cool. Oh, man.
Yeah.
It took you a bit to get there.
Sorry, I was a little long-winded with that.
Oh, no, you weren't even long-winded. I'm just saying what an interesting path.
Yeah.
I think most of us at least, have interesting paths on how we got here. So I like that a lot.
Thank you.
Man. How old are you?
I'm 36.
36?
37 in a couple weeks, yeah.
Oh, so you're still young.
How about you?
You have a lot of time.
Yeah.
I'm in my 30s. I'm young. I got a lot of time.
You do.
This is good, man. I'm 32.
Okay, nice.
I think. I have to check on my late.
I did a double take, so I'm turning 37 later this month.
Nice.
Yeah.
There we go. Awesome, man. So you moved back to South Jersey, started flipping houses, also a realtor.
Yeah.
At that point, was most of your business and most of your goals focused towards being a realtor or focused towards being a house flipper?
I was a little nervous because I resigned from this job where I had very stable income.
Yes.
And
I think that's kind of why I'm asking, because for a lot of people, it's very difficult for them to take that leap.
Yeah. There's a number of people that I'm friends with that are debating doing this right now. And there's a saying, fortune favors the bold, more risk, more reward. So I just said to myself, when I'm 80 years old or whatever, I'm looking back on my life, will I regret doing this? Worst case scenario, I quit this, I resigned from this job, I fail. I'm going to be able to find another job.
Yes,
so
exactly.
I just couldn't continue working at that company. I felt like a caged animal. I was in a cubicle for 60 to 70 hours a week, Monday through Friday, for 5 or 6 years working in that cubicle. And I would just, during my lunch break, I would just walk around. I'm more of a people person. I need to get out. I need to do things. I need to change the scenery. I was doing research, very analytical research nonstop. It was just, it was too much. So anyway, I guess to answer your question, I started focusing a lot on being a realtor. I moved down there and I decided to write 150 letters to all my neighbors. I was like, you know what, let me introduce myself. So I created one letter and I wrote maybe 200 letters. And I just said, hi, my name's Francis Longo. I just moved back into the neighborhood or to the area. I'm a realtor. If there's anything I can do to help you, I'd love to connect. If I could connect you with contractors, if I could give you an opinion of value on your home, let me know. I got one phone call.
Okay.
Yeah, one phone call.
You know what? Ratio-wise, marketing, that's actually really good.
Yeah, so now that I do direct mail, I know. So,
that's oh my gosh, he's great. So I steal your letter.
Yeah, I get one phone call from this old Irish guy, and he owns a bunch of rentals in the area, and he just wanted to connect. I don't remember. So he ends up, we chat. I think I hired him to build a new walkway to my front steps and build something. Yeah, so he told me he owned 9 or 10 rental properties in the area, and we established a friendship. He flipped some houses. He was a union construction worker in Philly, so he was pretty busy. And then he had a side paving business doing pavers and patios. So I told him I buy houses, and I guess I was working on one flip at the time or something, and mostly focusing my time on being a realtor. He calls me out of the blue, and he's like, "There's this neighbor of mine who wants to sell their house. The guy wants to move to Arizona, and he wants to just sell it immediately. It's in really bad shape." So he gives me an address. I type it into the MLS, and I look, and I'm like, this is something most realtors without training don't realize. I was like, this house is on a double lot. So because I come from this development background, I understand zoning codes, and it was in Haddon Township, and I looked, and in Haddon Township, most of it, you need 50 feet of frontage by 125 feet of depth for it to be a building lot. And I look, and it's on 100 by 150 lot or something, so it was oversized. And
so immediately your brain is going in a direction where even me, because I don't understand all the zoning, my mind wouldn't go there whatsoever.
I could teach you. It's not that difficult. Once someone sits down and teach you, it's not difficult, but most people don't have any formal training.
Yeah.
So I already knew that. I looked it up, and I was like, you could just put a line down the middle and you could build 2 houses, because Haddon Township values were super hot. It still is hot.
Yeah, still is.
So I meet with this guy, and I go over that night. It was 8 o'clock. He's like, come over. And it was the middle of summer, and his yard has trees. He's a hoarder. There's stuff. You can't even see the house from the street. There's trees covered. There's mosquitoes biting me. I'm just having this chat with him. And he's like, look, I just want to sell it. I don't need to get top dollar. I need to know I'm going to sell it very quickly. I want to move to Arizona to be a family. I was like, I understand that. I'll buy it as is. I'll buy it cash. I'll be very easy to work with. So I don't remember what he wanted for it. I think I made an offer and he bumped me up a little bit. At this point in time, still, I don't know why I was so hesitant to flip it. This was I saw this as a subdivision play. So I got it under contract and I assigned it to a builder. So this was my first wholesale. Okay. So I was a little nervous about wholesaling a property because I just had never done it before. So I was up front with the guy and I told him, I said, I'm going to bring in a partner. Because one thing I personally don't like is when a wholesaler meets with someone and they say, I'm going to buy your house, and then they're not buying the house. If they're like, hey, I have partnership, if you kind of explain it correctly to the seller, I think that's ethical. If you're saying I'm buying your house and then you don't buy it, I think that's a little unethical with wholesaling.
I understand that for sure.
Yeah.
All right, I get your perspective.
Yeah. I just know some people, if they're wholesalers watching this, might not agree, so I don't want to offend anyone in the business.
No, offend the shit out of them. Who cares?
Yeah, I go into these meetings now and I compete with some of these people, and I know how it works. But
it must be annoying because you're really trying to buy it.
I'm that buyer.
Yeah, and they're not, but they're saying the same thing as you. Yeah. I understand.
Yeah, so basically I had a local builder I was friends with, and I assigned it to him for like, I think $50,000 more than I had it. For me, that's a ton of money. It still is a lot of money.
Well, that's a lot of money. I'm not doing a ton of 50 pieces.
Yeah, so I was able to, again, so let me continue the story. So I assign it. I put together a formal presentation for the guy. So I wanted, that's one thing I think more realtors should do. When you send an opportunity to an investor, don't just send them an address. Take a little bit of time and put together almost, not necessarily a presentation, but give them some context. Hey, here's some comps. Here's what I think you should do. Here's a projected return. You know what I mean? So I put together like a over-the-top presentation for this guy. I met with this builder. He agreed. He's like, I'll buy it. Let's do it. Mm-hmm. I think I had it for $160. He bought it for $210 or $215, and he gave me the relistings on the build. Yeah, so he tore it down, built 2 houses. I got 2 relistings. So this one, and then I got each of those houses sold for like 500 something at the time. So that was like 15 and 15. So I made like 80 grand off of this one letter. But then this one letter, the neighbor across the street called me, and I got his listing. And then I got his listing and made 15 grand. And then I helped him buy an $800,000 house and made another 20 grand. And then a couple of years later, I helped him buy a $1.1 million house. And then, so if you look at just like, I guess the moral of the story is like hard work and like action causes reaction. So like this one, I mailed 200 letters. I got one phone call and it turned into a couple $100,000 of income. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
you mean a grand a letter?
yeah. So it was, it was just putting in the work, and I got lucky. I ended up paying the guy who gave me the referral.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, a referral fee for the opportunity. It's very rare to find something where there's that much meat on the bone.
Yes. Oh, yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Back then, I'm not sure, but nowadays it's very difficult.
Yeah.
Francesco says, we're going to war today.
Yeah.
So you got to go. You really got to go to war to get that much meat on the bone.
Yeah, I like that. One thing he said that I really like about business. I think I don't know if he said it he was on your podcast.
Yeah, I've been trying to get him to come on the second round, but he's difficult to schedule with.
Yeah, he is.
Francesco, come on.
Yeah, come on, Francesco. He said the way he looks at business, which I agree, is like if you're on offense or defense. So like defense is where you're doing tests that aren't making you money. Offense is revenue generating items. So I own a portfolio of rental properties and I self-manage them, which I hate, but I'm good at. I brought on some help, but like the amount of time that I'm dealing with tenant issues is not generating any income for the business, you know?
No.
Yeah.
Bro, you balling. Why don't you just
I'm like
have somebody else do it and just say screw it. Get that bandwidth.
Yeah, I'm a little I don't want to say control freak, but I have a portfolio of rental properties that I own with a business partner. I have some, and then my business partner and I own them, and I self-manage them. And I brought on I have a bookkeeper, a property management assistant who lives in Florida who's helping me, and I'm giving her more and more, but I really should give up more control of that because it's just not a great use of my time.
Yeah, I would imagine. You're a busy guy. So
yeah.
I can't imagine rentals are like giving you enough to take your bandwidth away.
Yeah, I guess.
It looks like you're flipping so many houses. That's the only reason I say that.
Yeah. I guess I have 3 interrelated businesses. One, I'm a regular real estate agent.
Yes.
So I have a partner. His name's Paul Chick. He's a great guy. He was actually my realtor before I got my license. I would buy houses through him. Him and I formed a partnership like a year and a half ago. So he mostly works with buyers that I bring in, and I work with sellers, but we also collaborate on a lot of things. He's been a huge help. You give Paul something to do, and he just gets it done. You don't have to check in with them. Like I get an email that the property closed, and we have a profit share. You know what I mean?
That's so nice.
Yeah,
it's so tough to find people like that. It really is. That's awesome.
It really is. So that's business number one. And then the investing side, I flip houses, and almost exclusively now, Tim T and I flip houses.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah. I mean, he flips houses with a few different partners, but I almost do all of my flips with Tim, and then I own and self-manage. We have 25 properties and 70 tenants. Yeah. So that's trying to, like you said, take some of that responsibility off my plate. I'm probably, like you said, going to hire someone to just and totally step out of it. Like every tenant had my cell phone number up until a couple months ago, and it was
Francis, you're a bad dude. God bless you. You've got a big heart then, because I would never want them to have my phone number.
No, I'm getting phone calls in bed at 10 o'clock at night that there's a toy, and I've probably was too nice, but I finally implemented that no one can call me unless it's an emergency, and you have to put things through a portal. We just implemented Appfolio a couple months ago. I still have a few tenants who are texting me and calling me and stuff. Like I saw a bug or something. Like I am very. I like to be a good manager. Like if they have an issue, we're going to fix it. But I don't have the time for people to be calling me at night when they could go through the portal. Then it goes to this woman, Heidi, we hired, and then it'll go to, a maintenance person to go address the issue.
Yeah.
It just drives me nuts. Like it's just too much.
I could imagine.
Yeah.
It sounds like you have a bunch of systems in place for you to step away. When you decide?
Yeah. I give Santini a lot of credit. He's like hyper obsessed with systems and processes. And that's one thing that I didn't really have in place. Like this year in 2025, I said, I have to put systems and processes in place, because I started out with one rental, and then it was a single family house I bought, then a duplex, then another duplex, then a triplex, then a duplex. And it just grew and grew and grew. And then I brought in this business partner I have, my buddy Mitch, and him and I bought a 5-unit building, a 6-unit building, an 18-unit building. So like we grew really quickly.
Dang.
And we were growing too quickly it just wasn't an effective way to build a business. So I stopped. Not necessarily growing as fast, but I'm like, we have to put systems and processes in place, because I'm going to just have a heart attack.
Yeah. You shouldn't have a heart attack. You didn't stop. You just slowed the brakes real quick to regroup.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that. So you do it all then?
Yeah. Yeah. I think they're all interrelated. I think sometimes I have to do a better job on social media kind of explaining, because I've had some friends of mine who I missed the opportunity to represent them as their realtor because they thought I was just an investor. So sometimes my what people associate me with isn't 100% clear. But I guess that just happens because I have different businesses.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
And if you don't outline it and just scream it in people's face, then they got their own eyes. They're not going to realize.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I see you doing a lot of flips with Tim. How did you get linked up with that whole crew?
So Tim... It's funny.
What a guy.
Yeah.
Tim, Santini, Francesco.
Yeah. Tim's a great guy. I was just with him before this. We were at a house we're flipping. First of all, Tim's one of a kind. Yeah. As you can tell, I have to give him a lot of credit. No one that I've known, I've been flipping houses for 11 years. No one has been able to build a house flipping business like he has in South Jersey. There was a few people I knew who would do maybe 10 or 15 or 20 flips a year, maybe 30. He's doing 125 flips a year. It's outrageous.
Insane.
Yeah. Now we have... So basically, we met at Santini's event at Trano, like 3 years ago, at the 2023 actually, and we were friends on Facebook. He added me. I didn't know who he was, and he came up to me and he was like, he's asking me how many projects I was doing at the time. I was doing like 4 houses, so for, like 4 houses at a time, or maybe 4 at a time, maybe a total of like, they're bigger projects, so they were taking me 6 to 8 months. So maybe I would do 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 in a year. That was about it. And we started chatting, and he was just asking me about my projects, and I started asking him about his projects. And then on Facebook, I just see him. This was before he had Alicia, who's his social media. Alicia's incredible.
She puts that work in.
Yeah,
she's amazing.
She's totally transformed his business from a social media context.
Oh my gosh,
like it's blown up. So he would just be posting like in capital letters, like Atco flip, and he would just be and then it started like, it was like 1 house, 2 houses. Then it started speeding up, and I was noticing, I was like, this guy's doing a lot. Who is this guy?
How's he doing all that stuff? What the heck is going on?
It was always in like Atco, Berlin, Hamilton, and I started noticing. So then I bought a house for my friend's grandparents, and I was doing other projects at the same time, and it was sitting. And when a house is sitting, it just kills me because I'm just like the math side of me. I'm calculating the mortgage, the interest, the utilities, our capital's tied up. So him and I forget how we started chatting. He's like, I'll renovate it for you. And I was like, all right, let's just meet over there. So we met over there. He has a very good eye for walking through a house and reconfiguring it because this house had a weird layout. So on the fly, we immediately redesigned the house. And he's like, I can have a full crew here. It was a Friday, Monday morning, and we'll knock it out. And he's like, I will pay for the renovation and I will renovate it in like, I don't know, 45 days.
Yeah, some kind of like a crazy
amount
amount
of
of time.
It was like less than half the time. And then he shook my hand and I was like, wait, you want to do a deal on a handshake? And like, I was like, Tim, you need to protect yourself. I was like, I could rip you off. You could renovate this house. Also from a liability standpoint, I didn't want a bunch of people in the house. Someone could hurt themselves, even though we have insurance. So we drew up a mortgage document. But that just shows what a good guy is.
Yeah. What a badass. But also, if I can't do a deal with you on a handshake, I definitely don't want to do that.
Yeah. No, I respect the fact that he was ready to do that, but I felt I don't want to really go into it right now, but
No, all the worst.
Yeah, I've been screwed by someone before who totally gypped me out of a deal, and I got a little sloppy signing paperwork because the guy kind of lulled me in. I thought we were friends, and he just totally stabbed me in the back. So I said to Tim, let's just draw up the paperwork. I want you to be protected. I want everything to be documented so there's no confusion. So we documented everything. He renovated the house. We sold it. We set a record in the neighborhood. I owned it with my buddy Mitch because I was going to flip it, and he was financing it. And I just was too busy with other things, and it worked out beautifully. So Tim renovated the house. I walked through it. The thing that I have to really compliment Tim on is he renovates faster than anyone, but he's not sacrificing quality. It was like, it was organized chaos. When I went there, there's 5 different crews working at the same time, and it's like, and he renovated the house. It turned out beautiful. We got an offer over asking. It sold. We made good money. And then after that, him and I created this relationship. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to focus more on building the rental portfolio. I have 4 in-house construction guys. We mostly keep them on the rentals. Tim and I'll start bringing Tim some of these flips. I'm willing to do more flips and take less per flip to you know what I mean, do more deals. Yes. So Tim, in 2023, we did 2 deals. 2024, we did 14 deals. And this year we're doing 15. I mean, we're halfway through the year, but some of these are really big projects. I think we'll probably hit 20 deals this year.
Bro, that's awesome.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
That's really, really cool.
Thank you.
And, man, if he's doing all the renovation, it frees you up so much bandwidth also, which is really cool.
Yeah, the only thing, he does the renovations. One thing him and I kind of fight about playfully is redesigning the house. Like we buy these old, like most of the houses we buy are in Haddonfield, Haddon Township, Collingswood, Audubon, Cherry Hill. A lot of these are really old, beat-up houses where there's 1 bathroom. So the project...
You got to switch it up. No one wants one.
Yeah, we gut the house to the studs, and then we reconfigure it and rebuild it. So we work with a few different architects. We work with this guy, Andrew Wood, who I want to give a shout-out to. He's really good. Him and I will... a lot of the houses... We're doing 6 houses right now. We gut them to the studs. A lot of times we've been adding second floors on the houses because they're like bungalows. So in order to gain more square footage, we'll rip off the top and build a full second floor.
I keep seeing y'all do that. I keep seeing y'all put this on Facebook.
Yeah. A lot of the times, these houses were built in the 20s with sloping floors, so a couple of the towns are easier to work in than some of the other towns, but if you meet all the setback requirements, you can just rip off the top and go straight up. So like one house we're working on right now was like 1,500 square feet. So then we're ripping off the top and we're going straight up and we're reconfiguring it. Now it's a 2,100 square foot house.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask, how much extra is that? Like, how do you budget that out? Like, what extra cost is that? Is that easy? Is that like is there like an equation or a simple way that you can answer that? I'm asking this selfishly for me when I'm evaluating deals.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to think right now, but I always... I'll just be totally honest. I don't think there's a single house that I flipped where I was on budget. I'm over budget every single deal. Every deal. I'm more optimistic when I'm plugging things out. I was like, we'll figure out a way to save here and here. It never happens. Never happens. So I guess to tear off, so if you're going to keep a bungalow the same way, you don't have the demo cost of ripping off the roof. You don't have the framing costs. Once you rip it off and frame it, it's just like brand new construction. So I would guess, I'm trying to think of the last one we just did. We just got an offer yesterday to sell it. Sat for a little bit, actually, which I was shocked. We kind of priced very high for the town that we're in. I would say man, it's hard to put a number on it. This one house is about 2,000 square feet, so the second floor is about 1,000 square feet. I would say to rip it off and do it brand new, I mean, you have lumber, labor and material, and then you're pretty much aside from that, everything else is the same, putting it back together. You're still doing insulation, sheetrock, flooring, everything. I don't know, an extra 30 or 40 grand you're going to spend.
Okay.
Maybe 50. Yeah, because the framing, labor,
I'm just going to call it 50.
Yeah, we'll call it 50. I can follow. I'll look at some of our budgets and let you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've analyzed a bunch of these knowing that, I don't know, a lot of people are just popping the top off.
Yeah.
And I don't know where to go with it. So that's very helpful for me.
Well, it also depends if you have the right framer. Like, actually, I think the framing cost on this one house we just did was 28 grand. But he also he threw in a bunch of other things that he was doing. So I don't know how to break out just the second floor for that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a lot of work, though.
Oh, I like that.
All the subcontractors like it, though, because you're starting with new construction, basically. Like, these houses that we're doing were built in the 20s and 30s, and trying to, put things back together that's 100 years old is a little challenging. So if you're just doing new construction, it's much easier for all the subcontractors.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
There's not as many variables to come into play. It's very cookie cutter, the same thing every time. Which a lot of people I've talked to that do new construction, they switched over to new construction because of that. They did one or two, and we're like, oh, wow, this is really cool. I like it. So, makes sense.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. So, for you right now, what are your goals for like the next year or so? Like, where do you see this going? Do you see yourself like doubling down and doing 30 flips next year with Tim, or do you want to focus more on stacking the rentals? Like,
I think right now I can't handle doing. If Tim and I do 20, we can't go to 30 or 40 based on how big these projects are. Like,
okay, you guys are doing big stuff.
Yeah, the projects are like the ones that we're doing 6 projects right now, and ripping the top off, building a second floor addition.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all these are at least gut renovating the interior. So like, I was looking at our last of all the deals we've done. I guess we've sold about like 20 something. The average hold time was about 5 months, but some of these bigger projects is turning into 6 or 7 months because they're so time intensive. So,
but that's expensive. Your monthly payments that you guys got going on for all these months would give some people a heart attack.
We use Renovo, so shout out to Renovo.
Buddy.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
You already know the drill. I told you, everyone doing serious numbers is using Renovo. Let's go.
Yeah, with Jeremy and Nick and their whole team is excellent. I've been working with them for a couple of years now, so we do a lot of financing and refinancing with them.
Very cool.
Yeah. But I don't really know. I haven't really thought too much about it. I'm kind of too in the weeds right now. It's a great question. Like, I should take a step back and kind of set some more goals.
Very self-aware.
Yeah, I want to grow the rental portfolio to a really, really big company, thousands and thousands of units. We're at 70 right now. I would like to be, honestly, 5,000 to 10,000 units, and I really would like to. Right now,
70 is still pretty cool, though.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate.
That's really cool. God bless you.
Thank you. I consider myself like a mom and pop business. Like, I have an office in my house. I don't have an office anywhere, and I'm kind of just, I would like to open a formal office. Not anything that big, but I would like, maybe a couple thousand square feet of office space hire a few people to work for me, and I would like to make it more legitimate. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Where do you work out of? Do you work out of your...
Brother, we're very similar in a lot of ways, actually. I just work out of my apartment. When I have to meet with people, I have them meet me here.
You're okay with that?
Brother, I love.
You love that? Yeah.
Part of the reason for me that I do this is that I don't have to be around a bunch of people, and I only have to be around who I feel like being around, and I can be with my family. So for me, it's been good. Yeah. But who knows what the future holds?
Do you think that interferes with your productivity? Like, if you're home, you can, you're not necessarily. It's not a true separation from being home and working. Like, do you give yourself boundaries at a certain time you turn off? Or
I think I'm pretty good with giving myself boundaries, and it all depends. And my lady kind of understands. My lady very much understands the drill, and our expectations are super set in stone.
That's great.
Which makes it a lot better for me.
Yeah.
Like the morning, I'm on call in the mornings dealing with a bunch of bullshit on the phone, but like my mornings I'm spending with my daughter, bro. I'm not like necessarily a workaholic. Like y'all put more time in than me, it seems like, at least on social media. Like in my mornings, I spend them with my daughter, then I go to jujitsu, bro. Every morning I do the same thing. And then when I get back from jujitsu, I'm going to plug in, and like the expectations are I'm doing all revenue producing activities for the rest of the day. And that's like kind of my thing until I'm done. Then I'll be with my family again.
Nice.
You know? But for me, it's nice. Like I have a little office, like right there in my house. And it's cool, you know. I still get to eat lunch with my family every single day.
Yeah.
What the heck? It's great.
Yeah.
I get to pop out, be with my, like, see my daughter for 2 seconds, see my wife for 2 seconds. I really like that. You know, I would have anxiety and unhappiness going to an office and being dad to a bunch of guys on the phone.
No, I agree. One thing that's nice, like my daughter's almost 2, and she'll run into my office and scream, "Dad, Dad!" It's nice to see her, but then sometimes she'll want to jump and sit on my keyboard and start, sitting on my desk, and I'm like, "All right, I got to work," you know. So, yeah. But I agree. I hated being stuck in an office in a cubicle for 60, 70 hours a week. It's so nice to be able to have the flexibility to choose. Like, it's hard to even put a price on what it would take to lock me back in an office working for someone. Like
the amount of money that it would probably take is a lot of.
Well, it's so nice that this morning I was playing with my daughter and total flexibility, and I visited a couple of job sites, and then I came here. So it's like,
I understand that. With my son, my son is 3.5. With him, it's easier because I just bring to all my appointments.
That's nice. Yeah.
You know, so I just full bring him. My daughter's too young. My daughter's 1.
Okay.
Her name is Francis, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, brother.
Nice.
How funny with an E, obviously.
Yeah.
But she's too young. It'll mess up her nap schedule.
Yeah.
It will kill me.
Important.
But my son, it's even easier because I just bring him.
That's nice.
It's really, really cool. You know, one thing I'm working on is, you know how this is. Something will go up on your phone and you got to deal with it right then. And I'm trying to do better with being, hey, I'm working, blah, 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 and explaining to them, I'm not ignoring you, but I got to make some money over here. My son is easy because he understands money to a degree because like every appointment I give him money.
That's nice.
He gets $5. Like he gets like $5 a day.
So he wants to go on meetings with you.
Yeah, but like he understands like, oh, we're doing this. We're getting this green thing.
Yeah.
So then I'm gonna tell him, this is how Daddy's getting the $5.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
That's smart.
But it's my natural tendency just to pick up my phone and just like turn away and blah blah blah. So trying to be better about it so they don't get confused.
Yeah. It's a hard thing to balance, but
yes.
Sounds like you're doing a good job of it.
I'm doing the best I'm doing the best I can, and I'm getting better and better every day. I'll tell you that much, bro.
Yeah.
Now, how does your wife feel about everything? Does she help you with your business? Does she have her own job? Is she a stay-at-home mom?
She's a nurse. She's
okay.
She works at Cooper Hospital. She's in the ICU, the step-down ICU. I could never do what she does. I have a lot of respect for anyone in nursing or being a doctor, anyone in healthcare. You know, all during COVID, I felt so bad for her because everyone got to work from home, and she was still at the hospital working on the front line. So, anytime I call her, she's at work. I mean, it's a long. She works 2 days a week, but they're super long shifts.
Yeah.
6:30. She leaves by 6:30 in the morning. She's not home until 8:30 at night.
Yeah, she's sometimes 2:12. That's a lot.
Yeah, sometimes later. So, she's very supportive. She doesn't have a real estate background or anything, but she understands what I'm doing, and she's a big fan. She's very good at interior design, and she has a good eye for things, decorating, and so I always bounce things off for like, what do you think? Because
or you got at.
Yeah, like one thing that I think so many people that flip houses, they just have such bad taste.
Yes,
it's like a 60-year-old man went to Home Depot and just put in some crappy vanity, and like you need a woman's touch a lot of times to on the finishes. So she helps me a lot.
I bet she's so helpful. And people go, the ARVs, this and that because of this comp and that comp. Yo, Pops, I can't believe that sold for that much. The whole thing was gray on the inside. That hasn't been cool for 3 years.
Yeah.
How do you sell it for that much? It's proof that it is a good deal.
You hit the nail on the head. I absolutely hate gray. Anyone listening, don't put gray in houses right now. Brown is in, not gray.
Yeah.
I can't stand all the gray. That was in 5 years ago.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So one thing Tim and I fight about, I want to try to do a lot more custom things in the houses because I think spending an extra $10,000 doing a shiplap wall or a cubby area, or spending more money on certain light fixtures, putting some sconces in, or wallpapering a room, appeals to people, and it makes them want to have the house, and it differentiates the product. So he's doing so much more business than me. He's just kind of rolling his eye. Yeah, he's rolling. He's like, dude, if you want to try to do this, go ahead. So sometimes one house we flipped, I put this crazy wallpaper in the bathroom. It was like flowers or something, but I thought it was beautiful. He walks in, he goes, that is the ugliest wallpaper I've ever seen in my entire life. So then I put a poll on Instagram, and I think like 80 people liked it, and we sold the house over asking. So
Hey, there we go.
Yeah. It might not have anything to do with the wallpaper, but it was just something different,
Yeah, I bet it may have got something to do with the wallpaper.
But yeah, so
people like that shit.
Yeah.
The girls are making the decisions. If it's a couple that's buying the house, bro,
100%.
the guy probably doesn't care that much. So you should really like it. It's good to listen to the ladies.
As a realtor and just like selling a bunch of, I guess I've been a realtor for 8 years and flipped about 200 houses. So like I have an idea what people like at this point. So like usually you're selling to the wife. If it's a married couple, male and female, it's usually you need to win over the wife, and she's the decision maker.
Yeah, the guy's only doing this for the wife.
Yeah,
So.
that's usually how it goes. Not always, but that's usually the case.
Yeah. Oh man, that's really funny. It's good that she's helpful, and it's cool that she also kind of has a not that being a nurse is non-traditional, but the hours are not traditional. So like, she gets to be home and kind of be a part of all that. So that's really cool.
Well, the one thing is, it's funny that her dad, Ted, and I work together. He's the head of construction.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so my father-in-law, I work together. I was nervous about that at first because he's amazing. I love him. We get along like friends.
Yeah.
And I was like, you can't mix business and family. Like, at the end of the day, if anything happened, like, he's still my father-in-law.
Yeah.
I was just super nervous about anything, but we get along perfectly. I'm not handy at all, so like I have vision, but I can't actually
You're
do
not
anything.
swinging a hammer.
No,
Look
I'm
at you,
not-
bro.
yeah.
You dress way too nice.
Yeah,
I can't be swinging no hammer.
Yeah, I don't swing a hammer. I've tried, and that's just not my skill set. So I recognize, keep focusing on my strengths. I'm not going to be in there doing manual labor. Like, I'm just not good at it, So he's incredible. I remember once I walked into a house when we first started working together, and we were putting in like a 20-foot beam. This thing gets delivered, and we like roll it into the house, and I'm like, he's just like lifting it, and I'm just like,
I'll hurt my back.
I could barely lift my end, and we roll it in. And I was like, how are you going to get this up in the ceiling? He's by himself. I was like, it was the winter. It was freezing in the house. I was like, he's like, I got it. I was like, I was like, oh, do you want some help? He's like, it's easy. He's probably saying like, just get out of here.
You're slowing me down.
Yeah, I come back a couple hours later. The whole beam is in the ceiling. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I was like, he had this weird pulley system. He went back and forth, and he had all these tools. And I was just like, I thought it would have taken a team of people to put it in. And it was really impressive. So him and I worked together. I just kind of, him and a few other guys work mostly on the rentals. But Ted and I are actually flipping a house together. We just bought a couple weeks ago. So Tim's not involved in this one. Ted and I are doing it. So it's a good bonding experience.
Yeah.
We're taking a little rancher, and we're adding a 2-floor addition. And, it's going to be like a 3,300 square foot house, 2-car garage, really high end. So it's on a nice piece of property in Cherry Hill. So I'm excited about that one.
Oh, man, that's cool. That's cool that y'all get to do that together.
Yeah.
And it's dude, it says a lot about both of y'all, that you are a family and you are able to work together.
Yeah.
Because people say that, but like, I don't know. I think that if you keep it like fully correct, you can definitely work with friends and family. I've worked with so many of my friends, and honestly, that's how we bond is doing this stuff together. Same
I'm a little hesitant on it, to be honest, just because, like, as a realtor, I've represented some of my friends, and sometimes it hasn't really. When business and money come involved, it just, as long as you set clear expectations from the beginning, I think it's okay. But like, I've done things with people, and it got a little weird. You know what I mean? I think it's all about setting expectations at the beginning. But one thing I didn't even mention, speaking about doing business with family, my mom and I flipped houses together initially. When I was moving back, she was here locally renovating the houses. So she's actually the one who really taught me this from the beginning. So I think it's super impressive to be a woman in real estate, because construction's predominantly a man field.
Yes.
So to be a woman in real estate, flipping houses,
tough,
you have to be tough, and it's impressive, because there's just a lot of, construction can be a dirty business. People try to stiff you, they try to rip you off. So my mom was actually overseeing all these projects when I was in New York before I moved back.
Yeah.
So we worked together. But then I liked working with my mom because she's my mom, but then it turned into all we were talking about was real estate. I just wanted to be mother and son, not obsessing over houses. So we stopped working together, and it's much better.
Probably healthy.
Yeah, much better. Yeah.
That's very cool. It's cool that you were flipping houses with your mom, though. That's very sweet.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Heck yeah, man. Well, it's been almost an hour. Is there anything else you want to talk about, or anything that you want to share? Any advice that you want to give my audience?
It's a great question. I would just say, I wouldn't necessarily consider myself like a big risk taker, but I would just say take a calculated risk. There's a lot of people that I've talked to that are just nervous to pull the trigger. So like, don't get caught up in analysis paralysis. Like, it's not that difficult to flip a house. I'm not the smartest guy. As long as you just do your research, just take the leap of faith and just do it.
Yes.
So I see so many people that are just nervous and thinking and hemming and hawing, and they don't have the conviction to just do it. You'll have the conviction when you're ready and you've done enough research, but don't just keep spinning your wheels and never take that leap. So I would just say it depends who you are, but if you want to do something entrepreneurial and you want to flip a house or you want to wholesale a contract or you want to do some sort of side projects, just do your research and then just take that leap of faith, because you're never going to have 100% certainty that you're going to make money or it's going to work out, but you just have to do it. And the value you're going to gain, it's hard to put a price on how much, like you're paying that the whole process of flipping a house. And even if you don't necessarily make money, obviously you want to, and that's why you're doing it. What you're going to learn is very hard to put a price on.
Yes, and the proof of concept that you're going to gain at the end of it is priceless.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Dang right, Francis.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you so much for coming on. And how do they get a hold of you?
I guess my Facebook, or I don't really use Instagram too much for social. My Facebook's fine, I guess.
Hit him on Facebook, Francis Longo. Everybody, I hope you enjoyed it. I did for sure. Happy hunting.